Okay, welcome back to the channel. Listen, I've been getting a lot of questions about ISAs, how I've got 20k in ISAs or what my plans are going to be for my ISA now that I've hit the 20k limit. So what I'm going to do in this video is first of all clear up some of the myths about ISAs and what's going on with my current free trade stocks and shares ISA. I'm also going to let you how I'm going to spend the remaining amount of my ISA allowance, what I'm going to do when my remaining allowance is finished, and also my plans for the ISA next tax year. So if you want to know more, like, comment, subscribe, help the channel get to 4k subscribers, and we can get the world of investing out to more people in a clear, simple and transparent manner. But first, let's get into this. I'm first going to dispel any myths about my current ISA situation. So for those of you that are new to the channel, I've been investing with free trade since December 2018. Now, what that basically means from an ISA perspective is that every single individual within the UK is allowed to invest 20k into an ISA per tax year. A tax year is not annual, just for those of you that don't know. It starts from the 6th of April and ends in the 5th of April the following calendar year. So effectively from the 6th of April 2018 to the 5th of April 2019, I was allowed to invest 20k. Now, considering that I only started in December 2018, it was a tall order for me to invest 20k in a 4.5 month period. So by that point, I had only invested about 6 or 7k into my ISA at that point. Come 6th of April 2019, my allowance reset just like everybody else's, and so that then allowed me to do another 20k. Now at that point, up until the 5th of April 2020, I'm allowed to invest another 20k. And as you can see on your screen, I've invested 18,000, I don't know, 850. I've got 1,150 left to invest within this current tax year. Once it hits the 6th of April, then that will reset and allow me to invest another 20k. Now, of course, if I sell any stocks and I reinvest those stocks, I'm allowed to do so. That doesn't count. If any dividends come through and I want to reinvest those dividends, I can also do that. That also doesn't count. However, if I withdraw any money, I'm not able to re-add that money. And of course, I can't just add any new money beyond the 1,150 that is currently remaining. So for me, with that amount of money, I've pretty much got two choices: invest in my dividend stocks or invest in my growth stocks. So what I'm basically doing at the moment is looking through my stocks, looking through my current holdings, and I'm paying particular attention to two key things. The two key things that I'm paying attention to is, first of all, the allocation of any particular stock that I currently hold. What I'm basically looking at is, let's say Aviva right now, you can see on your screen, that is 5.9% of my total allocation within my current portfolio. So if my portfolio represents 100%, Aviva is 5.9% of that 100%, and I'm going to explain why that's going to be important. The second thing I'm looking at is what the total return is for a specific stock within my portfolio. So you can see that Aviva is 5.9% of my portfolio, but it returns 6.82% of my overall portfolio. So now I'm trying to work out, is that good? Is that bad? Is Aviva a stock I should potentially be putting some of that money into, my last remaining amount of my current allowance? Whereas you can look at, say, another stock, and let's give you another example, and we're going to go with Barrett Development. Barrett Development is 6.9%, so 1% more is in Barrett Development, but Barrett Development represents 43.91% as a return, as opposed to Aviva's return being 6.82%. So I've only got 1% more currently allocated to Barrett Development than I do to Aviva. But in terms of return, I'm getting over 37% more in Barrett Development. Now, why is that important? For me, it's letting me know what am I allocating my money towards, what are my biggest holdings, my smallest holdings, and which ones are giving me the best bang for my buck. Because the ones that's giving me the best bang for my buck that I still continue to believe in going into 2020 is the ones that I'm probably going to put the remaining 1,150 of my stock. So what of my allowance. So what I'm basically going to be doing over the next couple of weeks or so is looking through all of my stocks, understanding what's the holding and what's the general return is given to me for that holding based on these two things. And it's something I have talked about in my Simply Wall Street Journal series, so go check that series out if you haven't checked that series out already. I'll talk about this in a bit more detail, but I'm going to basically be doing this practice and then working out which stocks that I still currently believe in, that I feel I'm going to get the best bang for my buck, whether it's a growth stock, whether it's a dividend stock. The pros and cons of putting it into a growth stock is that growth stocks right now are doing really well. They seem to be continuously going through all-time highs. A lot of my growth stocks as well have had fantastic earnings reports, so they're going to continue to grow. But one thing I always mention in my 2020 vision is that I did want to reinvest in growth stocks once I saw a dip. Once I saw a dip of about 10%, that was ideally when I was going to start reinvesting into my growth stocks. The pros and cons of investing into dividend stocks, well, I always talk highly of dividend stocks, being that whether the market's up, whether the market's down, you can continuously invest into dividend stocks. But when you look at some dividend stocks like Barrett, giving me for 6.9% allocation, giving me a 43.91% return versus Aviva, giving me only, what was that return, Aviva? 6.82% return, then obviously it's very, very important for me to invest into the right dividend stock and not just any dividend stock. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be looking at. It's quite probable that I could be investing partly into growth and partly into dividends, but then obviously that's something for me to work out once that's basically done. Now, once I've invested that last remaining 1,150, my job is not then just to go invest money into my basic account just because I can't put it into an ISA. I'm definitely not going to do that. But instead, what I'm planning to do is just to save that money in cash. So I'll continue to do portfolio updates. I'll continue to let you guys know what's going on with my portfolio, you know, any dividends I receive, any news in the stock market, but I won't be adding any new money into the investment ISA once that's done. Now, when I actually look at it pragmatically, it's not going to be that long for that period where I won't be adding any new money and stockpiling cash, considering that my next round of investment is at the end of this month. So I'll be putting the 1,150 pretty much at the end of this month or at the beginning of March. Then my next round of investment will be at the end of March, which basically I'm not going to be putting in then because I won't have no allowance to use up until the 6th of April, which is only going to be about a week after the end of March. So really and truly, it's not going to be that much of me not putting money into, but sometimes I do have spare money that I have sitting in my savings account or whatever that I might add. Obviously, I won't be able to do any of that. But then come the 6th of April, I'll definitely be putting in more money into the account. Now, what I'm planning to do from the 6th of April, depending on what's going on with my growth stock, is putting in another lump sum into growth and then potentially just leaving that for the rest of the year. So depending on what stock it is, whether it's Microsoft, Apple, Okta, Uber, AMD, Shopify, etc., I'm going to be looking at the fundamentals, looking at their earnings again, looking at how well they've been doing, what's their products, their services, all of the stuff we always look at, and basically work out which one do I think am I going to get the best return from, and then probably put in a lump sum in at that amount. And for the rest of the stocks, they'll continue to dollar cost average on a monthly basis. Now, some of you asked me the question, is getting an ISA worth it? Should you bother getting an ISA if you have a small account or a small amount of investment to start with? Me personally, even if I was only having a portfolio worth, say, 2K at the moment, my personal is I would always get an ISA, because I would much prefer just to have everything in an ISA, everything tax-free, and not have to worry about dealing with the government, dealing with any forms or anything that comes with it. Now, if you want to think from a purely mathematical perspective, if you do have a small amount to invest and you are paying for an ISA, specifically with free trade we're talking about, then that's obviously £36 on an annual basis. Now, you have to make sure that you're investing a certain amount that's going to get you a return much greater than £36, so it offsets any cost. Then in those scenarios, a basic account might actually be a little bit more preferable if you are investing a small amount into it. But if you are planning to increase the amount you're investing, then me personally, I always prefer to go for an ISA. I always prefer to invest in an ISA. And the only reason why I have investments in a basic account is because literally those REITs aren't available in the ISA with free trade at the current minute. So that's pretty much the reason why I basically do that. So yeah, Me personally, at the moment, I've got 1,150 left of my current ISA allowance. I'm going to be looking at which stock holdings I'm going to spend that money on. Most likely, I assume it's going to be a growth stock. That's my prediction, to be honest, just because of the amount of potential that some of them basically have. But you know, you never know. You never know. If I do sell another stock, then obviously I can reinvest that money, which is quite probable. There are a few candidates within my portfolio that I'm thinking to sell, just because the amount I hold within them and the amount of value they're giving to me is quite minimal. So obviously I'll let you guys know on that. But yeah, once that's basically taken care of, then obviously I will let you guys know what the situation is on that. But yeah, if you have any questions about ISAs allowance, capital gains tax, your capital gains allowance, dividends allowance, etc., get in the comments. I've got plenty of videos on that as well that will give you all of the information you need to know, and obviously I'll be able to answer any of your comments. Hopefully you found this quick video useful. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time with another investment video.